Well, we did promise, and if I had my clock all set up properly, I would not have advertised Chieli was going to be with us an hour ago. My mistake. But without further ado, give me a second. We got to, God, that music of Chieli Minucci. It's been streaming for about 40 minutes, and now I'm excited because he was with us 2 years ago on the inaugural show of PromoteTheMusic.com, and now we have him live right here. Chieli, welcome.
Hey, Bobby, how's it going?
Yeah, baby, it's going, considering 13 hours. Yes, it's going. How have you been? You've been traveling, you've been recording. You're a busy man.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. I just got back actually from a tour yesterday. Special EFX played a tour of Florida, and then we did a show in Long Island yesterday, so it's kind of nice.
Wow. Yeah, when I saw you in Florida, you know, I was thinking when I was in Costa Rica, that was just like a 2-hour, 20-minute flight to get there. But from Brazil, that's a different story today, you know. So you must be tired. Are you going to take a few days off now, or what's the schedule like?
No, actually, I'm in the studio all this week doing a CD with somebody. But at the end of the week, I'm going back to Florida with Loud Tizer. We're going to do a festival down there near Orlando. And then I'm going to China on Sunday to do a tour for 2 weeks. So it's, yeah, and then I'll be back for about 10 days and then off to Holland to do another tour for about 10 days also. And that's kind of the end. That'll take me up into November.
Wow, no resting for Chieli Minucci, huh? You love to travel?
I love traveling.
You love the travel part.
Actually, this is the busy time of the year for me, so I was complaining a lot that I wasn't traveling enough up until now, but it's going pretty good.
Well, that's why you have a manager that keeps you busy.
I like that, yeah.
It's been exciting. Chieli, you know what? You have to forgive me. I wrote down 24 or 25 CDs later. I can't remember. What's the number now in your career?
Special EFX CDs are, I think, 18, and then I've got, 8 of my own. So, yeah, there's a lot of CDs that I've been involved with recently.
A lot of music.
But, since I'm in my 20s.
Yeah, right. No, revealing 40 years in the business, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually 30 years for Special EFX being on the road,
right?
But for myself, yeah, I mean, I started actually performing professionally when I was 13, so it's been a long time for me.
Well, listen to this track real quick, okay? And yeah, baby, remember that? This is one of my favorite tracks of the '80s, and
BBQ.
Yeah. All right, I couldn't help it. I played that earlier, and I said, what's the connection with BBQ Band and Chieli Minucci? And I saw a photo on Facebook about 2 years ago, and it just blew me away because I wasn't aware that you played guitar for them. That was like, you were in your teens, weren't you? Early 20s?
Early 20s, yeah.
Early 20s? Oh, well, you looked like you were in your teens on that photo I saw. Wow, that must have been fun in those days, the dance scene. That's different from... Actually,
I'll tell you a funny story about it. When I got involved with those guys, I went to this club in New York called Leviticus, and it was the premiere of the group Change.
Great. Yeah. Love those guys.
Yeah, and I went to see them, and I remember when the show started, all the guys in the band came running to the front of the stage, and they were like going crazy playing their instruments and flipping their tongues and stuff, and I was like, oh no, don't tell me I got to do that. I was terrified. I had to learn how to dance, all of that, but it didn't come to pass. We didn't play shows where I had to do that kind of stuff. I was very grateful for that.
Yeah. So did you do a lot of studio work with these guys, or I mean, I know about the On the Beat, favorite track of mine. I used to spin in the nightclubs in the '80s, man. I knew you and I didn't know you. Yeah.
I did 2 records with them after that. Also, I did a record called. What was it called? 6 Million Times, which was the cover "We're All on the Telephone," and then "One More Night," I think, was the other one.
Wow.
And then I wrote a couple of tunes for Change. Actually, I had a single with the group Change called "Don't Wait Another Night."
Yes. Yes.
Which was after Luther Vandross left, but it's when James Crabb Robinson was the lead singer, and that was pretty cool.
That was chart-topping stuff. Huh? Yes.
Yeah, we had. I remember hearing on WKTU in New York when I was like 24. They were playing, they were playing my tune, and I was so excited about it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Very exciting. Yeah.
That was the beginning. So how you've evolved, and new album Genesis with Special EFX, and we're going to be giving away some of that music to our listeners. I played so much of your music while we're waiting for you. We're going to just value your time here. We're going to play the music coming out of the show, and we'll send it to people. But tell us about the new album and the direction you took with this album. It's an anniversary album, 30 years.
Well, quick question before I begin. Am I on video as we do this? Is this a video interview?
You bet. You can't see me, but everybody and we see you. Yeah. So don't pick your nose.
No, I just, wasn't sure if I should wear these glasses or not.
Nah, you're cool. Be Chieli, man. Yeah, I got my hat. Yeah, see, because the software, this webcasting software pulls the Skype signal in, and it can't share my camera. I'm going to find a way around that because it's an inconvenience to you not to be able to connect live. But no, it works out beautifully on the video archive, so and the archive is what it's all about at the end of the day. Yeah. So you are live, yes. Video.
Yes. Live. Okay. Well, anyway, so here's the situation with the new CD. It's called Genesis, and I started writing it mostly late last year, and I wanted to. I wasn't sure if I was going to put it out as an indie or what. I just was writing, and I wanted to do a very eclectic record, as I guess I always kind of want to do that. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to do, especially with this record, was celebrate the 30 years that the band has had as a music making creative force in my life, and I wanted to invite a lot of the people that I'd been involved with at the time that I was making it. So I used the core members of the group, which was Jerry Brooks on bass and Lionel Cordew on drums and Jay Rowe on keyboards. But I brought in a lot of guests that I've been working with. For instance, Lau Tizer, the pianist from California, Karen Briggs, the violinist, and I was very excited to bring in Mino Sinalu, the percussionist, who goes way back to when Special EFX started in the 80s as a good friend first of George Jinda, my late great partner, and then my own friend, of course. And Mino did a couple of shows with us in 2012, so it felt really natural to have him on board. Yeah,
it is, and the chemistry, I mean, just like the good old days, you don't lose a beat type of thing.
Oh, it was great, man. It felt completely like, there's a tune on the record called Calico, which he almost sounds like George Jinda playing percussion. It's just it sounds so much like the old Special EFX. I was really pleased with the way that one came out. And then I had a couple of guest vocalists. I had a young guy named Victor Starsky, who was only 20 when he recorded the vocal for the song called Far Away. And then I had my promoter from China, who I've been working for a couple of years now, who's also a wonderful singer, and her name is Shua Feiyu, and she's the vocalist on the song Mirage and the last song on the CD, which is the trilogy called Wishing.
I just love her vocals. I mean, it caught me. Like I told you that the other day. I said, "Who's the angelic voice on a CD from China?" No wonder you keep going back to China.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I mean, just briefly, about 2 years ago, I got an email from her, and I thought it was just like a fan letter. Hey, would love to get you to get Special EFX over to China, et cetera, et cetera. And that led to a club tour of China last year in February. And long story short, by the time exactly a year ago, I was able to take Special EFX over to play a big festival in Shanghai, and I've played all over the country now. I've been there 5 times, and it's all due to her enthusiasm about me and about the group and about the music. And it turns out she was a wonderful singer, and she's a performer in Shanghai, and quite well known, actually. But China and the West are still kind of apart, so we're trying to remedy that through music.
What a great way to do it. Let me ask you about the fans there. What's the are they fanatical fans, or are they pretty quiet, calm, cool, collective? What's the reaction like when you're out in China playing your music?
The first night that I played there, the club was packed and everybody was super well behaved and really like listening to the music, you know, which was great. And that's kind of how it was. I mean, every gig I played, the people are very well behaved, and remember, we're not playing heavy metal music, so
Right.
there's a certain aspect to the quality of the music that affects the way the people are in the audience. But you know, they really got into it, man. I sold a lot of CDs, and I made a lot of connections there. There are a lot of great musicians in China. Yeah. Chinese musicians and world musicians that are living there working, and I've met many of them. And when I go back, for instance, I'm going to have I'm not taking Special EFX on this particular tour, but I'll be using a Brazilian bassist,
Really?
an American drummer, and the keyboard players from the island of Mauritius in the African area over in the Indian Ocean. You know, a lot of people don't know Mauritius, but it's a little island between Madagascar and India.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that? International band here.
Amazing. It's amazing, and they're
That is
great players,
tremendous.
all of these guys.
How do you rehearse?
Well, you know, you send the music ahead of time and keep your fingers crossed that everybody kind of, you know, spends some time learning it. And then, for instance, what I'll be doing is on, I get there on a Monday. Tuesday I have a rehearsal, and then Wednesday is the show. This is the first show. So we actually, you know, we'll have a regular rehearsal, and hopefully everybody will just kind of tidy up the show and you know, get it together like that.
And then you got the jet lag to deal with. Are you affected by it personally? Or some people it just doesn't fizz on them?
I'm going to tell you, man, the first time I went there, I've never had sleep deprivation like I did. It really caught me off guard. I've had jet lag before, but I was there for a long time. I was there for 2 weeks on the first trip, and I was busy every day. I never really had a chance to catch up. So about 5 days into the trip, I was just like, I mean, it's weird though. When I look back at the photographs and stuff, it all looks kind of, you know, you'd never know it, but I didn't feel so good.
Well, actually, you know, maybe it wasn't the jet lag. Maybe it was the Chinese food. Who knows? I know you love cultural food, right? But wow, and I couldn't, man, I couldn't even travel the way you travel. I mean, thank God. That's why I asked you, do you love it? Do you like traveling? And you say yes. And you like the culture. I mean, I'm sure the food, the people is the total package experience, right? It's far beyond the music. Knowing your personality.
You know what it is, man, is that when a lot of musicians, I speak for a lot of us, when we travel to you know, exotic countries or third world countries, you're kind of like an ambassador a little bit, you know. So it's not just like, you know, you get up and you do what you do with your music, which I think is which is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful way to see the world, but there's a lot of socializing that goes on, you know, dinners and conversations, and sometimes we do master classes. You know, I'm actually conducting a master class at a university in Shanghai when I'm there as part of what I'm doing, and
cool.
It's about giving back, man. That's a big part of it.
Sure. Wow. Very cool. When you're not doing music, which is probably never, I mean, do you ever get days off where you're not doing music? You don't even touch the guitar?
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
You swim. I know you swim just about every day when you can.
Everybody who knows me that way. Yeah, that's my thing.
That's your chill out. That's your decompression. Do you get inspired through exercise? I mean, do you come up with musical concepts sometimes, just breaking the pattern out of the studio into the pool sort of thing?
Well, you know, swimming is a little bit like meditation. When you get into long distance, I kind of go back and forth like lap swimming. So, yeah, actually. You know, thinking about anything as simple as the set order, you know, picking the right order of songs for a concert, to just sometimes just thinking about, you know, you're just thinking about stuff that when you're swimming all the time. So it's like a meditation in that regard. I haven't actually written a song, but I've gotten ideas for things that I wanted to try out at rehearsals and stuff. just it's like dreaming. You just kind of pops into your head.
Right. You get into a trance, basically. It's like running long distance. You get to a point where, yeah, you're no longer consciously thinking, right? And things are flowing. We just lost Chieli. He'll be right back. Folks, don't you worry. That was just an internet drop. Chieli, call me back. There we go. Let's get him back live.
Hey, I'm here, man. Sorry about that.
Was that an internet drop, or was that a human error like me today, pressing buttons?
Yeah, it was a human error.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Let me pull you back in. There we go. You're back. You're live.
Okay.
Long day. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate this. I said to myself, well, it can happen. I had a guest today who's the director of a public company who became our corporate sponsor at Bobby D Live. They're sponsoring the show for an entire year. And he got in a car accident. He's okay, but he couldn't make the show. And I'm saying, an hour ago, so I'm looking at the clock, say, okay, well, Chieli will be here in a few minutes, and I'm playing some tracks. And I realized I've got my times all screwed up, And I totally lost track of time today. And,
were we supposed to be doing this an hour earlier?
No, you had the right time. I had the right time written, but I was reading it wrong because I was in this trance 12 hours later being on the webcast. So, just reacting and pressing the wrong button. So it happens. Yeah, I think of how you and I met. Well, I met you in 1988. So, you through the double feature album, which is still one of my favorite Special EFX album. I remember exactly where I was at the time I discovered that album, in my own CD store. One of my employees said, hey, I wonder, we had 4 copies of it. And they were, remember how they used to seal it with plastic and you really couldn't open them? You had to tear one apart, destroy the package, and you couldn't resell. I said, well, open one of those. And we popped it in, and it was like, man, everybody, all the staff in the CD store loved it immediately. And so that was my entry level. But little did I know I was playing some of your music with BBQ band in 1981 in the nightclub. So, but I've been a fan. But we met. You remember how we met online, huh?
Well, through the event that we were going to do in Costa Rica, right?
Before that, actually, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because I want to make a point to the listeners. I'm dealing with a lot of people who work their business, because we're combining at Bobby D Live spiritual entrepreneurs with the power of music. And a lot of people still are they don't have the belief and the certainty that you can build incredible relationship through the internet. You and I have never met live in the flesh, but it seems like we have, for me anyways, through the power of music.
Yeah. Well, we've chatted a few times, and we had a lot of correspondence at one point.
Yes, we did. And we were talking about bringing you to Costa Rica, and that, I got sick and delegated that, and that didn't happen. But we met through the power of music, and I was playing the Mega Mix tribute to Chieli Minucci that I had recorded about 3.5 years ago, and Donna heard it, and Donna didn't tell me you guys were personal friends, and she forwarded that Mega Mix, and you said, who is this guy? And that started the conversation. My point to the listeners, my point is the power of music brings people together. So this is unusual that I connected with someone that I knew as an artist for years, but there's been a special chemistry in our conversation. And I just don't want to talk about music tonight because you have some amazing philosophies about life that we've had in private conversation. And I'd like to, if you want to share that with people. I mean, you think differently about life.
Well, I have some pretty core beliefs. I think that a lot of people have. I mean, I think, for instance, that that all of this music is just an outflow of some other energy that's actually much more fundamental. I mean, it all basically all begins with physical health, and taking care of yourself, and when you're taking care of yourself, you have the ability to be of maximum service to other people, and actually, if you're in good shape, let's just call it being in good shape. You can do your job, and you can. But that's physical stuff. But also, when it comes to just mental health, like if I'll give you an example. I mean, it goes to it comes back to music for me, because music, I think, is a great parable for a lot of things in life. But I was recently asked to submit. I was interested in getting involved in writing music for a cartoon, and just just if you didn't know this about me, just like as a hobby, I like the idea of putting music to picture. It's easy to do nowadays with the software, and I'm very mischievous with the way I write music sometimes, and I find it to be a lot of fun. So I got an opportunity just recently to write for Nickelodeon.
Oh, really?
It's not a done deal or anything like that, but just the fact that I was asked to do it. So anyway, they sent me the video, and honestly, I didn't really like it at first. I'm like thinking, oh, I don't know, this is so different than what I normally do when I play, you know, jazz fusion music and stuff. But anyway, my attitude is that why not? You know, so I put the video up on the computer and you know, plugged the gadgets together, and I was working on it. I had a ball working on this thing. I don't know if it's gonna
make the cut.
It's the right thing.
Right?
My attitude though is to just do it anyway. Why not? You know, who knows? You know what's going to happen unless you try.
Keyword: had fun. You had a blast doing it. So chances are it'll be a positive outcome. But again, being detached is what I'm hearing. You're doing it. You're having fun, and you'll let the outcomes. You'll let the chips fall where the chips fall. I've had a lot of conversation with musicians the last 3 years. They are so stringent on their ways of doing things. They're in the, not all of them, a lot of them are outside the box, but a lot of them are confined in their thinking, and they don't dare to do the things you just talked about because they're known, they're labeled as being a certain way. So
you know what I tell a lot of young guys that are just getting into it. I say to them that if somebody asks you if you can do something and you really don't know how to do it, just tell them, yeah, I'll do it. But immediately call up your mentors or whoever you need to call and learn quick, because sometimes we learn how to do things. We learn our craft in public, you know, and
yes.
that's the truth. Yeah.
I like what you just said. I like everything you say, but I don't think I've ever had a musician, a recording artist, refer to someone as a mentor. Like, right? So some of your mentors, they may be alive, they may be dead, but you've had mentors.
Many of them. I mean,
such as
we all have them, whether we acknowledge it or not.
Right. Yeah. People lead the way. They impact our lives. Often it's our parents. But you had musical mentors. You had non-musical mentors in your life. You still have mentors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much so. Okay. I mean, I had a. I'll tell you a good experience with a mentor, where I really felt that that's what it was. It wasn't just a teacher. It was somebody who it was a friend of my father's who. His name was Norman Simon. He actually co-wrote a couple of Special EFX songs with me, but that happened later. But I knew him since I was a kid, but I didn't really know him during my 20s and stuff. But I went through some difficult times in my late 20s, and my relationship, you know, with my wife was coming undone, and just some personal problems that I was going through. And my dad said to me, "Oh, why don't you speak to Norman?" My father was from Italy, right? He says, "Speak to Norman." And I called him up one day, and we got together for breakfast. And this guy, he was maybe 30 years older than me. He was more than that. He was 35 years older than me. So he was in his mid-60s when I met him at that time in my life. And he just hung out and told me all kinds of stories about his life and about, I guess he was a very validating person, really kind older gentleman. We ended up meeting for breakfast like once a week for months, and then we started writing songs together. And I just, you know, it was the funniest thing was that I think that he also got an energy from me musically. Like he was interested in, you know, we had this synergy, the two of us, but he basically let me know that a lot of my thinking was incorrect. And he didn't tell me that my thinking sucked or anything like that. He just told me about himself. And I started to realize through his own stories and his own speaking that I'm just another spoke on the same wheel as him, and I really had a couple of things mixed up. And here's an older guy passing on his life to me, and I could see that, you know, that there was another way to look at things, especially regarding relationships with people. So that was an amazing experience to me. You know, that was really great. And musical mentors are very important also, because it's not just having a teacher, but it's somebody who's willing to expose themselves to you, you know, as being fallible as well. I mean,
sure.
In other words, it would be like, Bobby, if I was teaching you how to play the saxophone, if that was my instrument, you would, in the course of our lessons, a good teacher will, as a good teacher, I would want you to know the problems I've had with the instrument as well. So you could see that, you could see the glory and the guts, you know, at the same time.
Yeah, transparency, total trust and confidence in being who you are. Yeah, and that doesn't happen often in a lifetime, where you can find those mentors where you can be that genuine, but it's important, no question about it. I've had them in my life, and yeah. So how are you leveraging those experiences in dealing with younger musicians?
Well, you know, for instance, when I do these master classes, I tend to tell them my story. You know,
storytelling is powerful, isn't it? Especially when they're true stories, right? Yeah,
I tell the story. It's not just like, watch what I do and this is what you have to do, and if you want to be a composer, this is what you have to do. You know, there's a little of that, obviously, and I try to explain what it is, but I'm very positive about the experience. Like when somebody says, want to come to China and play a club tour with musicians that you don't know, yeah, I do want to come.
I mean, are you that quick in your, Chieli, I know you, but are you that quickly in your response, or you got to think it through, or you're that spontaneous of a spirit?
No, I'm very spontaneous, and I say yes right away. Of course, but then between us, if I find out later that I have to share a bed with some dude or something, I'm not going, you know? It's like, I want a nice hotel too.
Yeah, of course. No, but you say, I love the idea, yes. And then you get into the logistical stuff, and that's why you have managers or a manager, and yes. So, you know, that's good, because that's a sign of a high-performance person. Did you know that? They make quick decisions, and they don't change their minds too often.
I don't know. Yeah, that's all I've ever known. That's most of the guys that I work with are like that. You know, we jump on opportunities.
Right.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
You know, like you say, like for instance, I was recently offered a show in November in Pennsylvania, and I took the date without even knowing if my band was available.
And were they?
Not all of them. No, I have to figure this one out. I have a little time.
I got an idea. The new Special EFX.
I know, the B band, which might be better than the A band. Who knows?
So I mean, you just finished this album. You're promoting it, and God, that's a lot of music in a very short period of time. And boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we're promoting it now is, well, my very first manager said that the kind of music that I write with this group, with Special EFX, the best way to promote it is to play concerts, and that happens to be what I love to do. Also, I like, we're talking about this. I love traveling, and I love performing, and so that makes sense to me. You know, the landscape has changed. I mean, we don't really have record stores anymore, CD stores, and also there's really very little terrestrial radio that plays the kind of music that I write. Actually, I have this parallel career in commercial music that I write for this company that gets used all the time in place of, but. What I never expected was that when Special EFX started and when I did my own solo career, I never thought that we would get such airplay. I remember I told this guy at Shanachie Records, my record label, his name is Danny Weiss, I told him years ago that these stations made like little stars out of us all. I mean, a lot of us, you know, we figured I wasn't really looking to get out in the limelight. I just wanted to make music and play music with my friends, you know, to be in this fraternity of musicians. But what ended up happening was that we ended up playing all over the world, over and over, and selling records and getting radio airplay. And even, you know, things happened because of that. I got to produce other artists, and I got to get into teaching and all kinds of stuff I never expected.
Right.
So pretty cool.
And writing music scores for, well, soap operas. You've done a lot of that. You've won awards for that.
Yeah, man.
Emmy awards.
I did years of writing for. I mean, I'm not writing for that show any longer. That's gone. But yeah, I scored for years for the show Guiding Light on CBS, and
everybody knows
had
that.
some success with that. You know.
Yeah, and that's
nice.
You're very diverse, and I think a musician nowadays they have to be more diverse than ever before in order to make a good go of it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be one of you guys in 2013 starting my career. It's different. I mean, you've got a good history.
I wouldn't want to either. I wouldn't want to be just starting now.
It's difficult for young musicians. So you know, where's the light at the end of the tunnel for them? How does a young upcoming musician separate themselves from the crowd on the internet? It's such a busy superhighway.
It's incredible. There's
crazy.
You know, I mean, even the quote unquote, you know, professional musicians, we're competing with really good social media people that don't necessarily have such great ideas about music and stuff, but they're really good with advertising and media.
That's it. Man.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do. What you do is all the young players, like my son, for instance, he's a professional bass player and guitar player. You just write and you play and you tour and you just do, you know, you put your best foot forward and let the chips fall where they do.
Right.
You know, you can't control the whole thing. You can just do your best.
Right. Now, you recently, you were signed by labels. I mean, when I first discovered Chieli Minucci, well, actually, Special EFX and Chieli Minucci in those days, you were with GRP way back. Then you evolved.
Yeah, we
JVC,
were with GRP
right?
During their
heydays.
Their heyday, yeah.
Early 80s. No, late 80s. 88, 89, 90, right?
That's right. It was 85 through 92 approximately.
Right. And then JVC and they went away, right? And then
we left. We moved over to JVC Records for 6 or 7 years, and then I switched over to Shanachie Records. And during that time is when my partner George Jinda got ill and was no longer able to perform. And then I was doing special effects CDs and solo CDs simultaneously. It was a lot of stuff going on at that point. Yeah.
And then you went independent, and then you just re-signed a label. You're back on the label. How about that, huh?
I went indie 4 years ago during the transition of internet, and then I discovered that that was an interesting ride. I'm like the five fingers make a fist kind of old-fashioned guy. I like to have a team of people working with me, supporting me, because there's just too much to do. And for instance, you know, it's one thing to write music and to record it and to perform it, but to market it, it's not my thing. You know, I can't. It's one thing to tell people we're playing a concert. That's marketing, but as far as
the hardcore stuff,
getting the stations to play the stuff, you know, and telling them that this is the tune you got to play and this is the best song you're going to hear all week, you know, I can't say that stuff.
What station, anyways? But what did you like most? I mean, there's got to be some element to the independent label that you enjoy. What did you like most as an indie artist for 4 to 5 years, if anything?
It's going to sound silly almost, but I like the fact that when I was done recording, I had so many songs that I had recorded that I made the decision to release a double album. And I came out with a double CD, and I was able to package it the way I wanted to, and I was able to put a 50-page booklet in it the way I wanted to. Nobody was telling me it's too expensive, you can't do it, or this is not a good idea, or it didn't happen. It was really cool, and I'm very proud of that CD. That's the one called Without You.
Yeah, total hands-on, huh?
Yeah, it was cool, man. And it sounds like my other CDs sonically. I used the same musicians and the same engineers and the same production people and the same mastering people. But the only difference was that it cost me a fortune to advertise the CD.
I'll bet. So you did talk about the fact that you didn't like the marketing part, so we know, okay, you just told us what you liked about it. You had total freedom of creativity. You did it your way. And what is it aside from the marketing that you didn't like as an indie artist? I'm curious.
Oh, nothing. Actually, it was fine because once the record was finished, the key was to get it, get airplay and go on tour. There was one aspect, one other thing about it was this word called distribution. It's something that I hadn't ever dealt with, but what I did was I called up my label, my old label, Shanachie, and the general manager there, Randall Grass, lovely guy. He just gave me the names of all of their distributors worldwide, and I wrote I wrote the same email to everybody, and most of them jumped right on and asked me to ship them stuff. So the thing that I wasn't used to was that I got to know everybody at the post office by first name. Because I don't have a company here. It's just, the guys in the band don't do this. It's me, So wow. I was shipping boxes of records to South Africa, to Europe, to Ireland, and
that's amazing.
Wherever.
See, people don't realize the life of an indie artist. And I'll tell you, I was shocked one day in Costa Rica. You may have heard me mention the name of this group. Editu's 4-time Grammy Award winning group out of, and they backed Peter White at his retreat.
They're amazing.
They are amazing musicians. And but I'll always remember, see, we box you guys in a certain category. I'll always remember for one of the retreats, because we hired them for all 4 retreats, and they played for us for intimate, 50 people concerts, and with Peter White, 15 people, closed door concert with Peter White. I mean, think about it. But I remember buying the 50 CDs because the post office story just triggered that. And I called them. I said, bring me 50 CDs at the condo, and I have the cash for you, So, but one of the musicians delivered the 50 CDs, and my wife at the time, Renee, says, no, he just looks like one of the violinists, Ricardo, in the band. I said, no, that was Ricardo delivering the 50 CDs. We music lovers don't expect that, but that's the life of a musician, an indie artist. You got to
that was the thing we were joking about, like what would happen if I got an order for 5,000 CDs from somebody.
What would you do? Yeah,
that would be the challenge. And that's actually what record companies deal with all the time. Like they start out and they and then they have, for instance, think about it for a minute, like a label, like when the band Nirvana.
Yes.
Nirvana was on, I think, Sub Pop Records out of the Northwest, and they didn't expect them to have that kind of success they did, and the label was inundated with orders, like in the thousands and eventually millions, and they had to figure out how to manufacture. It's like it's at the point of manufacturing. Like it's the great American story of supply and demand and freight and shipping and all of that stuff. I didn't have any of those problems. I didn't have those kinds of numbers I was dealing with, but I did have a room full of boxes of CDs, and I did have, like all kinds of non-musical business stuff that I was dealing with. And it's not that I didn't like it. I just found it to be a little stressful. It's just a lot of stuff to do. It's not that it's that complicated. It's just you got to be consistent and regular about it. It's very hard work to be independent.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's like a home-based entrepreneur who's got to do everything from accounting to manufacturing to promotion to marketing to sales to public relations to. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank God Chieli's on the road, focusing mostly on enjoying his travels and good food and culture and playing music. And he's got a label again. That's exciting for you. Good for you.
Yeah, the good food's important.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing you don't weigh 300 pounds, man. But you swim every day.
We just played at a place in Boca Raton, Florida called Jazz Is Nightlife. It's a lot of folks might remember the magazine called Jazz Is.
Sure, I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the guys who owned it, Michael and Steve Fagan, they opened the club, and it's a jazz club. It was a great club. It was a great gig, but all we're talking about is the food.
Sure.
Yeah, it was really quite good.
So one night in Boca Raton, man, oh man, yes. Yeah, that's close to where I used to live, right across the state. How often,
where were you? What part of Florida were you in?
I was in St. Pete, Tampa Bay for 10 years.
Oh, wow, yeah. Lovely. Yeah. It's a nice area.
I loved it, man. Loved it, but outgrew it. It got cold in the winter, and I had to go south and move to Costa Rica, as you know, 10 years there. And then it wasn't cool there, but it was time to move on. And Brazil, I'll tell you, I love it here. We're going into our summer It's starting to get hot. Christmas, Chieli, Christmas. 100 last year, my first Christmas year, 154 degrees Fahrenheit on Christmas Day.
154?
55 degrees Celsius, 154 degrees Fahrenheit. I was in the pool all day. I had no idea how hot it was because I didn't look at the thermometer, but it was a couple of days of extreme heat. I mean, that is abnormal. But it's outstanding weather, climate here where I am, and I love it. And you did email me. Hey, we're going to have to find a way. My destination, so you know, within a year, is to set up operation in Rio de Janeiro because that's the mecca of the culture and the music and great airport and be easy for people like you to fly in. We could do stuff, and by then my Portuguese will be more fluent. So, yeah, we never met in Costa Rica. There was a reason, but I got to believe that Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, is possible.
I hope so. I've never performed in Brazil. I mean, I've been to Santiago, Chile, a few times, but never have toured South America proper. And so that's on my wish list for sure.
The culture here is phenomenal. The ladies are amazing, and as you've seen on some photos.
Photos of you, yeah.
No, my lady. I sent you photos of my lady, didn't I?
Lucky boy.
Yeah, I'm blessed.
I've seen you post on your website.
Oh yeah, that's right. I got it on my Facebook. Yes, her birthday tomorrow, so I'm gonna chill out after this webcast. Yeah, 13, 14 hours. What a great way to close out the day with Chieli Minucci. Yeah. And I know you've been busy, and to take that time to be with us, I totally appreciate it. And we weren't set up on chat today. I was off my bicycle after a year not webcasting. I said, I'm not going to focus on interactive chat and everything, but next time, Chieli, we'll have the fans, we'll pull them in on video, face to face with you on video and chat.
That's great. I love chatting with you, man, and I really believe in what you're doing, too. You know I support you.
Oh, so, I know, you have been.
Anytime we can hang out and talk with the fans or whatever, we'll do it again, all right?
You got it, and we're giving away 3 of your tracks. We're going to give away to the fans who go to bobbydlive.info. We're going to give them tracks, but go to ChieliMinucci.com. That's a site.
That's it.
It's a beautiful site, and there's a lot of music there. There's a lot of albums. But we're going to give the listeners, Chieli, Ocean Deep, the bonus track, if you are okay with that.
That's beautiful, yeah.
It is. And Mirage. And I'm going to close out the day in this show with an incredible track. I absolutely love it, Till the End of Time. Because that's significant to me. Friendship, till the end of time. How long do we have? I don't know, but I appreciate you. You have no idea. And thank you. And thank you for making today a special day for us, all of us.
Good to speak with you, and thank you for the support, Bobby, and best of luck with everything, okay?
Hey, thank you. We'll be in touch. And safe travels. Keep the Skypes coming. Let me know what's going on, right?
Yeah, I'll Skype you from China, man.
You got it. All right. Decent time of day, please.
Yeah, I'll be mindful.
All right, Chieli. Ciao, man.
Be well.
Thank you.
Ciao.
All right, that was Chieli Minucci. Amazing soul. I just love this guy's energy. And you know what? When you get to know him, you realize, I was playing the music before the show, right? And if you didn't know of Chieli, if you didn't know Chieli, his personality, then maybe you can't relate to the music as well. I really believe that once you meet the person, then you listen to the music, you'll listen to his music a little differently next time. So we're going to send you the tracks, Ocean Deep, Mirage, Until the End of Time. I'm going to close out the inaugural show, Bobby Live. Yes, 13-hour marathon and some. It's been more than 13 hours with that track. I hope you enjoy it. Send us some comments on Facebook or private chats on the wall. Don't matter. We appreciate all the comments, good or bad. We want the feedback. We want to know what you enjoyed the most and where do you feel there's room for improvement in what we're doing here, because it's not only about music. It's about people. It's about the human spirit. It's about improvement. It's about self-empowerment. It's about business. It's about marketing. As you noticed today with the special guest, we had some world elite business people running $100 million companies sharing their wisdom with us. I mean, there's something to learn here. So the new format, yes, I know it's not for everybody because everybody wanted the old show because we used to mingle so much, but tell me how we can make this better and how we can beef up the attendance, because what's important here is that the indie artists are discovered, also the entrepreneurs. We have entrepreneurs with great visions, with great products, with great ideas that need to be heard, and it helps everybody. So we appreciate you guys, and I'm excited, I'm thrilled, and I'm going to go to this track because I need to pull it out of the show archive here, and Till the End of Time, Chieli Minucci, yes. I hope you enjoy that as much as I enjoy it. And I'll see you in the coming week on on another show, right? A 90-minute show. Okay. That's it. Ciao for now from Brazil.